Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Hey, thank you. Thank you. We've reached the evening portion of today, which is when the lights go down, the candles come out, and we get to act, and the bar opens up, and we have a chance to actually enjoy one another's company, hopefully break a little bread together, and hopefully build relationships that can last way beyond this meeting and way beyond this evening. I am Sudip Parikh, and I have the privilege of being the CEO of the AAAS, and to get to represent some of the amazing work that goes on in this organization. And we have a long history of commitment to DEI dating back nearly half a century. Since 1975, we've conducted extensive research. We've organized convenings and programs. We have shared our expertise and more. And it's all in support of increasing the opportunity for all people to participate in STEM and making STEM pathways that serve all people equitably. And for most of that time period, from 1975 to today, it's been led or heavily influenced by the person I'm going to introduce, but it's a secret, so I'm not going to tell you yet. What I am going to say to you is that she has a vision. She has a vision that I think everybody in this room shares, which is that when a child is born today or is born very soon, that child is going to grow up. And no matter where it was born, whether it was born in North Carolina or the Mississippi Delta or the Central Valley of California or the South Side of Chicago or Manhattan or wherever, if that child is going to feel belonging in the scientific community and the scientific enterprise and will always think that it's been their birthright to have that belonging, that they will never once have to think of the fact, do I belong here? That is the vision. That is not a dream. That is an ideal, and it's an ideal that is led by practical, pragmatic people that are my friends and colleagues at the AAAS, and that are the collaborators that are in this room. And despite the determined work of a whole bunch of folks to improve equity in STEM at our institutions of higher education, we aren't making enough progress yet, and certainly not at an adequate pace. With the Sea Change program, AAAS seeks to encourage and recognize colleges and universities for their work towards systemic transformation to achieve inclusive and excellent post-secondary institutions. Scientific excellence and diversity of thought and diversity of experience, diversity of background, and diversity of race and ethnicity and gender are inextricably linked. You're not going to get scientific excellence without the other. We have to foster the excellence, foster the diversity that's needed for excellence. And we are proud of our commitment to equity, inclusion, and excellence. We're proud of our Sea Change program, and we are proud of our awardees that we're going to celebrate this evening. Now, just because I want to be very short about this, I'm going to invite that person that I said has been a leader or an influencer of this since 1975 or thereabouts. And she's a senior advisor to me. But what that really means is that she is my boss. And I want to welcome Dr. Shirley Malcolm to the stage.
Thank you so very much, Sudip. And I'm not his boss. We are co-conspirators. Okay. It's my honor to be here and to be able to recognize the work that has been done by, first of all, the team, the Sea Change team. And I want you to just basically wave your hands here. We have Beth Rudy down here and Michael Feeder, and Lily is somewhere, and Aaron is somewhere, and Travis is somewhere, and God only knows where. But in any case, and the other thing that I want us to recognize is the incredible work of our institutional members as they are undertaking some of the hardest things that you ever want to do, and that is to change institutions. That is really, really tough. And yet we recognize that we need institutional transformation if we're going to actually get the workforce of the future, and if we're going to get the innovation of the future, and if we're going to get the excellence in science of the future. And we cannot get it unless we really double down in terms of looking at the barriers that are within our own institutions. Barriers to success for all. And my role here is really an exciting one, and that is to introduce you to our speaker. Our speaker is someone, I don't even know when I met him. It feels like I've always known him. Joe DeSimone is a chemist, an inventor, an entrepreneur. He's responsible for breakthroughs in so many fields: green chemistry, medical devices, nanomedicine, 3D printing, and on and on and on. He's published over 350 articles. He's the named inventor on over 200 patents. He's mentored 80 students, half of whom are women or underrepresented minorities. He is the Sanjib Sam Gambhir Professor of Translational Medicine, Chemical Engineering at Stanford. But that doesn't begin to talk about all the things in which he's involved, including like courtesy appointments throughout Stanford and even in the business school. Okay, so he's the recipient of the MIT Lemelson Prize, the National Medal of Science, of Technology and Innovation, and he's the 2010 AAAS Mentor Award winner. Now that's an interesting combination, to be recognized for your mentoring and what you are contributing to developing the next generation at the same time that you are a rock star in innovation and technology. But that's who Joe is. So, Joseph DeSimone.
Well, when Shirley sent me an email to join, nothing could be closer to my heart than to come help celebrate her and this organization and our honorees tonight. So thank you for including me. And it was timely because this article just came out by Shirley and Sudip about the role of mentoring and students and postdocs. And I think the line that grabbed my attention out of this article is one here: mentoring is not rewarded. And so what I thought I would do is I'd share some things that I'm watching that look attractive to me as trying to make a difference, especially coming out of COVID and post George Floyd and other things. And I'd like to point to some of those for you here. One is at the National Science and Technology Medals Foundation. They have really put together a really important program that I see as curated mentorship activities for individuals. And because we're not all the same, and there's that focus for needing to do that, and they're doing this at a very high level. We have stood up a Center for STEM Mentorship. I've only been at Stanford now for about 2.5 years. I was a colleague of Holden's for a long time at the University of North Carolina. And when I came to Stanford, they said, look, we don't want you to teach polymer science. We got enough people that want to do that. We'd love for you to focus on mentorship. And so when I started to realize, I went back and look at the teams that I've been associated with, and it's really clear about this role of team science and the exposure and differences about teams. And there's a lot been written about convergent science, the convergence of disciplines, the role of team science. And one of these, the one in the middle, I had a chance to help be involved with, facilitating transdisciplinary integration of life sciences, physical sciences, engineering, and then a comma, and beyond. I can't tell you how much we had to fight to get the words and beyond into that program, and what it really means as a whole person and whole institutions. And so, as I mentioned, I've been at this for a while, and a lot of it in North Carolina, and a lot of it has been translational. And the research that we've been focused on has always had an element of a utilitarian-like perspective and a goal to try to translate it, so much so that I stepped out of the academy with some support from administrators at UNC to lead Carbon, a 3D printing company that I agreed to do for a year, ended up leading it for 6 years. And then I got my life back and decided to stay on the West Coast And also watching what's happening. And I'm on the board at Nat Geo and chairing the board of my alma mater, Science College. And all these organizations are doing mentoring in different ways. And I thought I'd point to some of this. I think this perspective that I have is of the challenges. I look back on my career since 1990, none of it had to do with the science and engineering. All the challenges were around people and the challenges of people, either working together or collaborating, their individual lives intervening because life does. And this idea of the role of the team and the people that support them. And some things that have helped me a lot, and just sharing some of this, has been, my personal board of directors, and it's a dynamic one. And I collect a lot of people over the years. It dawned on me, Shirley and Malcolm and Holden have been on this list for a long time here with me, and of people that I watch and in admiration of what they do. And there's a lot of people on this list that have impacted my life in so many ways. And just so, as an example, I encourage everyone to have your own personal board of directors. Holden, I think it's an old picture of you there. Yeah. Those were the good old days, whatever. And now I'm blessed with another great group of students that are coming together from scratch. And I know how hard it is to start a lab. I've done it twice now. And really great group of students. And they're coming from a lot of different disciplines. And that perspective for us is one wrapped up in this quote, and I love quotes. Research is an expression of faith and a possibility of progress. The drive that leads scholars to study a topic has to include the belief that new things can be discovered, that newer can be better, and that a greater depth of understanding is achievable. Research, especially academic research, is a form of optimism about the human condition. And this is from Henry Rosofsky's book, The University and Owner's Manual. And that perspective has always permeated our group. And I think it's important to celebrate and talk about these kinds of perspectives that drive what it is your group's trying to accomplish, what are your values. And we've adopted some things out of the literature and crafted in our own way the values. And we put this on our website. And because we want our lab to be a destination for excellence wherever it's located. And we want people to know that they can see, what these values are and can look at our lab as a place to feel wanted and belong. And for me too, I always watch what other organizations are doing something similar about values, expectations. And I really love being on the board with Gene Case and the team at National Geographic. And like a university with our students and our faculty, the raison d'etre at Nat Geo is our explorers. And we have this wonderful list of leadership traits. And if you just glance at this list, and I'll leave it here, but it's a kind of admirable things you'd want to see in individuals and organizations across the board, between optimism and grit and high emotional intelligence, inclusivity, global citizen, all those things wrapped together. And these are the things that really drive our organizations that I'm associated with. And part of this too is, well, how do individuals work together? And one of the best books out there is Lencioni's book, The Advantage. It's all about corporate culture, but I think it applies to any organization. And within this, sort of the ideal team player is this nice balance between being hungry, humble, and smart. And the kinds of things that we try to, move towards and celebrate, and how people can do this effectively. And after starting a lab from scratch, having done this for a long time, and sitting at home like a lot of us did during COVID, we decided to put together an expectations document. What the students should expect of me, what I should expect of them. And we did this together. We went through a process that Maria's here. It probably took 9 months or so. We went through and we put this together, and there's a lot of sensitive topics that people maybe struggle with now about maybe work ethic and expectations. But, we found by putting it together that, for example, on work ethic, we found that Malcolm Gladwell's book, 10,000 Hours, talk about 10,000 hours to accomplish anything great typically takes 10,000 hours. Well, if you do the math, that's roughly 4.5 years working hard in the lab. But we don't specify the specifics, but it's just there's acknowledgement of excellence and expectations and working together, role playing. And we spell that out in this expectations document. And part of this too was to recognize that all these different disciplines coming together, we all recognize is a key roadmap or blueprint for innovation, but it's challenging to interact together as individuals. And we see what's happening too in industry. Steve Jobs really did it, laid the ground rules in so many different ways. It's in Apple's DNA that technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities that yields us a result that makes our hearts sing. And this convergence of disciplines and cultures all coming together can create angst and challenges when people are not able to speak in the same language in some ways. And you look at, again, companies like Apple pulling together really disparate people, like we try to do at a university setting and doing that. And with that convergence of disciplines and people, in many ways, they're complementary activities. I think a lot of people feel really good about disciplinary teams coming together to achieve greatness. And you could make the same argument about human diversity and this recognition that we learn the most from those that we have the least in common with. Cuts across disciplines, that cuts across ethnicities and cultures and experiences. And the importance of that coming together is one that we cherish. And this recognition, Scott Page and others have talked about that, problem solving, diversity is powerful stuff. It doesn't always trump ability, but it does so far more often than we'd expect. And the role of your teams. And this came to light for me when I was asked to be on an innovation team at a large chemical company in Europe, and it was in the 1990s. And not only did I walk in a room of all white men, which I was used to doing at this time, but they all graduated from the same 2 research groups. And I couldn't break in. They were at a structural disadvantage to driving the innovation process. And so we got to think about our organizations and our communities in that light. And the challenge is when you do this, I've seen it too many times, that people bring up this issue of abandoning the meritocracy. I see this conversation over and over again. Too many of us see this conversation. Clearly, ability matters, but so does diversity. They're different topics. They play different roles in the innovation ecosystem, and they are both extremely important. And so those are the things that we try to really strive about. And Shirley has been an icon on this, and it's been, I don't know when we first met, but it's been a mutually rewarding relationship. And when you use this quote on your testimony to Congress, would really, I think, solidified a lot of our commonality and our approach there. So these are the things that we're thinking a lot about. Shirley, it's in your honor that we're here tonight in many ways, and your motivation and drive is bringing us all together. And we wish you the best of health and continued drive as we go forward here. But thank you for letting me join you in this discussion today. Thank you.
Out of the many things about Joe that I did not mention is that he's actually a member of all 3 of the national academies, science, engineering, and medicine. So he lives a convergent life. Okay. Thank you so much. I am moved every time I have any kind of interaction with Joe, because he is in many ways the embodiment of what we wished faculty actually looked like. That essentially that they believed in the people and the power of the ideas of the diverse perspectives to take you a lot further than you would get any other way. So thank you so much. And now the witching hour. Let me just say this. When we developed the whole sea change idea, adapted it from the Brits, I think we improved on it. When we did that, we came to realize that the process of getting an award was non-trivial. This is not a check the box event. You're not going to get there that way. It means a lot of soul searching. It means a lot of self-assessment, and it means a lot of reflection, meaning making. Just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean that's a good reason to continue to do it that way. And I want to say that our colleagues from the University of Florida embraced that. They embraced the idea that we can be better. We can do better. And so getting the bronze recognition, I call it, it's a license to strive, to get better so that they can go on to the silver and then the gold. But it's the entry point. It's the way in to begin to look at oneself and see how can we be better and how can we get better and what do we have to do to be better? And so it is in that spirit that I want to ask our colleague here. We have only one, right? We lost one in a health crisis, but we are wishing and praying and thinking about you, Chris. But Bridget, if you can just come forward so that you can receive the award on behalf of the University of Florida. We'll take the picture and then sit it back down because it's heavy. Travis, can you come up here? Travis. Hurry, Travis. Hurry, Travis, hurry. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
For all your hard work.
Yes. And now I invite Bridget to come and make comments on behalf of the team.
Thank you, Shirley. I'm Bridget Dermott, and I'm so pleased to be here. And I'm delighted to accept this award on behalf of the University of Florida. I'd like to recognize that this project was the work of a dedicated and diverse team of university leaders, faculty, staff, and students, and it reflects the core values of our institution. We greatly appreciate and value the support and guidance we've received from AAAS and our peers as we have been doing this really important work. And we're committed to moving our action plan forward in pursuit of excellence in STEM education and research. Thank you so much.
Okay, and so now I'll turn the mic to Travis.
Thank you, Shirley. I am what is standing between you and what I believe will be a very wonderful reception. So in the words of our CEO, if you cannot be, what's the word you always use, Sudha? If you cannot be profound, you should be short. So I will try to keep it short. I don't think that this is, I think you are all very aware that we are at a critical juncture in our work. One where there is simultaneously great momentum for change in higher education and in higher education systems, and also great pressure to keep the status quo. And we must face some hard truths. The evidence is clear that our current systems of higher education do not serve all people. And so we must ask ourselves, how do we wish to define excellence? How we endeavor to serve our society? As we've heard from Joe this evening, thank you so much for your remarks. An individual who's been named inventor on over 200 issued patents, and who has published over 350, I'm sure that's ticking up more and more, scientific articles, that true innovation is not possible without a diverse array of perspectives at the table. The work being done at the University of Florida is critically important for the scientific endeavor, as well as the fulfillment of the mission to enable our students to lead and to influence the next generation and beyond for economic, cultural, and societal benefit. That's University of Florida's mission. And we are proud to acknowledge the work that you all have been doing to continue to serve your society, to continue to serve your citizens, and really to realize the full potential of America's talent, the talent that must be at the table for us to solve society's greatest problems, the opportunity before us to continue to make a better world. We thank you for your time here this evening. We want to honor and celebrate University of Florida. We also want to honor and celebrate all of our Sea Change members. We are growing steadily and steadily. We're over 30 institutions now, and it's such a pleasure. And kudos to the Sea Change team, Dr. Darla Thompson, Aaron Kahn, Michael Feeder. It's okay, I got you. Beth Rudy, Shirley Malcolm, our founding director, Lily, Junice, all of our team for all the work that you do. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. Thank you for your work and thank you for your dedication as we build the capacity of institutional leaders so that they can realize the change that they want to see to fully reach their missions for an equitable and excellent STEM ecosystem. And with that, let's celebrate.